to stage. Are you able to hear? Use my mobile phone mic. So are you able to hear me now? Use my mobile phone mic. So are you able to hear me now? Use my mobile phone. Okay. So hello guys, and welcome to this video today. In our video today, we are going to try and do a preview on the game between Manchester City and Chelsea, and we're going to try and analyze and see the dynamics of all the games. We are going to do a preview. So this is my first live stream, so I'm really trying to get into hooks whether I should be doing more live streams. I'm expecting to see your comments on anything that you see that we can probably look to improve. So I can start to use my presentation. Let me do some presentation. I want to delve into tactically and actually look at what we are going to expect from this game. So looking at this game, you are able to understand that we're actually having two managers who've worked together in the past. And this game is going to be a clash between Enzo Maresca and Pep Guardiola. And I'm going to try to do a tactical preview of this game. I'm going to try and tactically analyze how this game is actually going to play out. And first of all, before I even begin, I'm going to encourage you that I'm actually trying to start an initiative whereby we actually hit 10K subscribers before the Premier League starts, so that we are able to increase our overall viewership and actually get to produce more content, even looking to try and do podcasts and many other things that we can actually look to try and engage in tactically, so that we can be able to understand the game much better. Now, when you look at the first thing that you're going to understand is that Chelsea will actually be playing in Ohio, and they'll be playing Manchester City. So in the games that Chelsea have played so far, the overall turnout in the match, the fixtures has not been quite great. We've actually seen Chelsea, the stadiums being virtually empty. But we're expecting that, because this is actually one of the big games in the Premier League, we're expecting that more fans will actually show up to watch this game. And if there is a time to play Manchester City, then it is now, because now Enzo Maresca, who's actually a disciple of Pep Guardiola's positional play structure and system and football tactic, is actually going to try and use the structure and the system that Pep actually employs at Manchester City to try and get the best out of him. So thank you. I'm seeing a comment from Julius. Yeah, it's good to see me. You should be used to now. I'll try to do more videos whereby you're able to see me, so that I think this can bring a lot of personal appeal rather than just seeing me from behind. So I want us to do a preview. I want us to look at the preview of this game. I want us to look at the tactical aspect before I introduce the tactical board, before I play the videos, before I explain to you the positional play dynamics in which this game is actually going to play out. I want us, first of all, to look at the background check of the previous games, and I want us to look at Manchester City. I want us to look at Manchester City, and I want us to focus on Pep Guardiola's recent results. And let's look at Manchester City. Let me try to get Manchester City there. Let's try and look at Manchester City. Now, you'll realize that one thing about Manchester City is that during this preseason, Manchester City have not played quite well. They have actually not managed to actually win a single game in the entire preseason. Davey is asking me, where are you from? I'm from Kenya. So Pep Guardiola's team is yet to win a preseason game, and Pep Guardiola, as usual, has actually made some excuses. He has detailed that some of his players are actually injured. He has also even talked about Haaland's injury. We are yet to see the likes of De Bruyne making games. We've not seen Rodri. Rodri is out with a hamstring injury. Remember the injury that he picked during the Euros final? Rodri is also out. We have not seen Bernardo Silva. We are yet to see Julian Alvarez. His transfer problem is quite shaky. We don't understand whether he will be there at Manchester City this season or next season. We're also yet to see other couple of players from Manchester City. I've not yet seen John Stones. John Stones seems to not have arrived at Manchester City. I think players who played for England are yet to come back. So John Stones, Kyle Walker is not have not yet come back. Phil Foden is also not there. I think so. Maybe they are actually returning to preseason. I'm yet to see De Bruyne making an appearance, and I'm also yet to see who else. Who else in that? I've not yet seen Akanji. Also, I think now they're actually even playing Calvin Phillips in the back line, and and Calvin Phillips playing as a center back rather than him playing as a natural midfielder is also something that is actually quite interesting. Now, looking at the lineup and the tactics that we expect from Pep Guardiola, we expect Pep Guardiola to play the usual way he usually. Do you think Chelsea and Man City will use the same setup for today's game? First of all, I don't think this is just a preseason game. This is just trying to test the waters, looking at the overall fitness, because Manchester City are actually going to play. Not this Sunday. Next Sunday, they're actually going to play Manchester United at the Community Shield. Remember, Manchester United won the FA Cup. Manchester City won the Premier League. So Manchester City actually need to start getting into the rhythm, because on Sunday next week, they will actually be playing the curtain raiser, the Community Shield. And because of that, I expect some players to come back. I expect somebody like Manuel Akanji to be back. Nathan Ake should also probably be ready to start. I don't know about Kyle Walker. Joao Cancelo, I'm yet to see if Joao Cancelo is in training. And Rodri will not play. Rodri is injured. Mateo Kovacic probably can play. Bernardo Silva, I don't know if he's quite ready. Ruben Diaz. So Guardiola has really hinted about a lot of injuries in the Manchester City build-up play. One thing that he has actually talked about is Erling Haaland, and he has actually explained that Haaland is not quite ready to start. Haaland is not quite ready to actually begin. And because Guardiola has actually indicated that kind of thing, we are more likely to not get the best Manchester City side. You're not going to get the best Manchester City side, but you're going to get a strong City side, a fairly strong. We expect Oscar Bob to play probably. I don't know who's going to play the striker. Their wingers are also quite not there. So in this game, naturally, what people are expecting is that Manchester City should be favorites. But coming into this game, I don't think Manchester City are actually the favorites. Chelsea are the favorites coming into this game. I might sound crazy, but that is the truth. Chelsea are favorites coming into this game versus Manchester City. And how are Chelsea favorites? Chelsea have actually probably their fullest squad in this game. We have Sanchez is there, Philip Jorgensen is there as the goalkeepers. We also have Rhys James is there, Malo Gusto is there, Ben Chilwell is there, Tosin Adarabio is there, Fofana is there, Colwell is there, Ben Wabadiashile is there, Romeo Lave is there, Enzo is there, Caicedo is there, Dewsbury Hall. And remember, Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo actually played in the Copa America. So they have just taken like around 2 weeks holiday. So I think even their fitness is not adversely affected. And therefore, we are expecting them to actually make some slight improvements. So we also have a player like we have Noni Madueke in the right wing. Mark Guahi is there. Armando Broja is there. Nicholas Jackson actually think is actually coming back from his injury. So you might expect that there might be something that is very interesting. Yeah, I'm finally doing live stream. So this is my first live stream. I actually want to see how it's faring on. I'm seeing currently that we have around 22 people who are viewing. That's great. That's good for a good start. We'll actually build from there. And I'm actually reiterating that we need to actually reach 10,000 subscribers before the Premier League starts, meaning that by next week, but on Friday we should at least have 10,000 subscribers. That can be great. So I'm actually explaining that Chelsea actually have a good squad depth. Chelsea are actually at a better position than Manchester City now. And therefore, because Chelsea are at a better position than Manchester City now, they should endeavor actually to try and win this game. Remember, winning this game is for the psychological part. Is to actually get Chelsea ready psychologically. Because when Chelsea will be ready psychologically, they will understand that now they have the ability and the capability to actually match Manchester City in the Premier League fixtures. So the game is actually to prepare Chelsea for that game. Now, somebody has raised a very important comment here. I think Chelsea won't use James because he's going to miss some games from the start of the season. Yes, that is something that I actually factored in my preview. Rhys James actually managed to get a silly red card at the end of the season. So missing Rhys James is actually going to be very vital, because when I see Rhys James there, I know very well that Jeremy Doku in the first game of the season will be nullified. Now we'll have to prefer to use Gusto there. And I understand that playing Gusto there will mean that Marco Kurela will be back, or Enzo Maresca might decide to play Levi Colwill at left back. So it's actually creating a lot of problems. But because Rhys James is not there, I'm going to show you who I actually prefer in my starting lineup. And I'm actually going to give you my starting lineup and give you a tactical breakdown of how I expect Chelsea to play in this game. Remember, Chelsea need to play this game well focused. Though it's a pre-season, we're expecting a lot of players to be rotated. But in the previous two games, in the game before the game, in the game against Celtic, Christopher Nkunku played 90 minutes. So now it's that time in pre-season whereby you are actually going to see Maresca giving other players 70 to 75 minutes. Other players will be playing the full 90 minutes. And why is this? Because he wants his first 11 to actually gain that momentum, to be match fit. I'm yet to know if Cole Palmer is back. I'm yet to know if Cole Palmer is back, so that we understand. Though I don't think Cole Palmer will be ready to play in these preseasons, but I think Cole Palmer will be ready to play in the first game of the season. If Palmer is there, you play him. If Palmer is there in the Premier League season, you play him. Palmer is the first name on the team sheet. So if he's there, you play him. So let's first look at a brief description of the press conferences that have been done by both managers. So when you look at the press conferences of both managers, is that you've realized that Enzo Maresca was actually being called a diet Pep, meaning that he looks somehow like Pep. Both of them are bald. You can also see from their beards, you can see there's some small resemblance between them. And he was asked about his relationship with Pep, explained to the media how Pep is the greatest manager currently in world football, which is the truth, and how he actually would like to create a team that can actually challenge him. But Enzo Maresca has said that he doesn't like to be compared with Pep. He's different from Guardiola. And you can see there is some slight differences. And we are going to look at it tactically. Pep, on the other hand, also talked about how he congratulated Enzo Maresca in his new job and how he believes that Enzo Maresca is actually going to improve Chelsea and take Chelsea on to the next level. So Enzo Maresca is actually to take Chelsea on to the next level. Now, I want us to engage now into the lineup and the tactical aspect of the game. So let me prepare my tactical board and we can actually begin analyzing the lineups. Let me prepare my tactical board. And here's my tactical board. Just give me a minute as I prepare to showcase it. Okay. I think you're able to see my tactical board. So as you know, Enzo Maresca is likely to play a 4-3-3 formation. That is his default formation. Now, this is my lineup, but I have questions on whether James is actually going to play. And actually, I feel like I think that we are going to have to take him out of the team and bring somebody else. I think we are going to introduce Colwill into this lineup. I'm going to explain to you. We're actually going to introduce Colwill into this lineup. And why are we introducing Colwill into this lineup? So I'm expecting that Rhys James is going to come out, so Gusto is most likely going to shift towards the right, and Kolula is actually going to start at left back. Now, let's start from the back, and that is the goalkeeper. Let's start from the back, and that is the goalkeeper. Now, the goalkeeper, I'm actually leaning towards having Philip Jorgensen as the goalkeeper in this match. Why? Jorgensen has been really interesting in this kind of system. Now, why am I preferring Philip Jorgensen in this system? This is because why I'm preferring this player in this system. Because when we played in the last game against Celtic, what we realized is that Philip Jorgensen was much better than Robert Sanchez. And why am I saying this? There are some times in that game where Sanchez actually looked to delay the ball. Do not forget to check a video. I've actually posted a video doing now an analysis of him in a Chelsea shirt and actually analyzing his debut season. The video is the latest video that I've produced. Now, Jorgensen in this game looked much more composed. Remember, Enzo Maresca needs a goalkeeper who understands how to play with the ball at his feet. His sweeping ability, his ability to actually step out of the line to actually come out and sweep is also quite an interesting and an important part in this system. Give me a minute, I take a glass of water, and then I'm coming to explain to you more. So, what you're going to realize with Philip Jorgensen is he's much composed on the ball than Sanchez, meaning that he's able to receive the ball. Once he receives the ball, he just doesn't get rid of the ball immediately. Remember what I've been trying to explain to you, that as a player, especially when you're playing in a possession-based team, you're supposed to receive the ball, hold on to the ball, and then draw in pressure. So when you're drawing in pressure, you allow your teammates to be free. Because now when Jorgensen holds the ball like this, he's able to draw in a player to mark him. And once you draw in a player to mark you, you are able to actually open another passing lane to your player. Because now you create an extra man during build-up. And Jorgensen, having played in the La Liga, and in the La Liga, you'll notice that most teams in the La Liga actually like to have a ball-playing goalkeeper. And because you're having a ball-playing goalkeeper in that setup, the goalkeeper should be comfortable to actually step out, either to receive a third-man pass combination, and actually to even play as a right-sided or a left-sided centre-back. Look at the position of Jorgensen in this game. He's actually playing as a centre-back. He's very well composed. He relaxes until the central defensive midfielder is able to receive so that he can pass the ball. Here, he has actually received the ball, a bad pass from Tosin. Tosin should actually wait his pass as he passes the ball to the goalkeeper. And because of this, I want to see him getting more time on the ball. I want to see him actually having the first game, playing against a very intense pressing team. One thing I also liked about him is remember this pass that he made to Noni Madueke that Broja missed? His ability to actually play those balls behind the opposition defense line. Remember, when teams will be pressing Chelsea aggressively high, they will be pushing their defense line up. I want to give you that example here. I want to just do that tactical analysis here. I want to do that tactical analysis with you here. So I want to explain to you why I prefer him here, and I want to show you, analyze to you how we're actually going to achieve this. So let's, for example, introduce a blue team that is Manchester City here. Let's introduce a blue team that is Manchester City. And then I want to show you how Jorgensen is very important for Chelsea in these kinds of setup. Let me introduce another team here so that we can do some great explanation on this. Now, one thing that you need to understand about Manchester City is that Manchester City are more likely to aggressively press Chelsea high up. So this is Chelsea now looking to build from the back. This is Jorgensen with the ball. Now, when Chelsea are looking to try and build up from the back, what you'll notice is that the two center backs will most likely try to split between the two, to split on the same line as the goalkeeper. And why will they try to split? Because Manchester City will employ an aggressive high press. This is how Manchester City press aggressively high. So the fullbacks will be tied up with the wingers. So the wingers will push into slightly narrow position, in a position whereby they're able to also press the fullbacks. And then one midfielder will stay deeper while the other will push high up to try and cover the holding midfielder in this kind of case. Then what you're going to realize now is because Manchester City will use an aggressive high line to try and limit Chelsea from progressing high up the pitch. So they will use an aggressive high line. Now, when you when you are looking at this kind of situation, you need to understand that you need your goalkeeper. You need a goalkeeper. Your goalkeeper is going to be very, very important to play with in this kind of setup. Now, if Manchester City are deciding to go with a two-man front line, if Manchester City are trying to press the two-man front line like this, if these are the two players that they're actually trying to use to press your goalkeeper, what are you going to expect? When you have three players like this, now you already outnumber them. When you have three players like this, you already outnumber them. But remember one thing, because you already have three players here, they might decide to further commit another player. Maybe they can try to use a winger pressing from out to in, meaning that the winger is actually moving in a slightly using his shadow to cover a fullback, and actually using trying to mark the center back, but using his shadow to try and cover the fullback. Remember that pressing pattern. And because he's using this position here to try and cover the fullback, he's also putting some pressure onto this center back. He's also putting some pressure onto this center back. And because he's also putting pressure onto this center back's passing lane towards the fullback, once he receives the ball, is actually cut because now he's already under pressure. And if this number 9 moves into this position, then what you're going to realize is that Manchester City will have already suffocated Chelsea, and the center back will actually go long where the team can actually look to regain possession. Now, when you find yourself in this kind of situation, you need to actually think quick. That's why we have what we call positional play. And positional play is actually looking to try and get numerical advantages against the opponent when you're trying to build up from the back. So in that case, because Jorgensen is a very good goalkeeper on the ball, he will not play as a central center back when they are being pressed with three players, meaning that three players are against them. So we have one player pressing the center back, another player pressing the goalkeeper, another player pressing the other center back. But remember, when these three players are pressing, what they have actually created is that now Chelsea have what? Chelsea have an advantage in midfield because now Chelsea have an extra player in midfield. Remember, if you commit more players in the attacking phases of the game and actually look to try and press the team higher up, you're actually allowing the opponent to have space in the middle of the park because you've taken a midfielder from midfield and pushed him towards the attack so that he can actually engage in that press. But that is not but how are you going to get an advantage? Because all the three players who are actually going to receive the ball in this situation are being pressed. You need numerical advantages in that line. So what you do, and why Jorgensen is very important, is you have your goalkeeper play as one of the two center backs, meaning that you can decide to have Jorgensen play as a left-sided center back in that manner, and Tosin coming close to him in that manner, so that now the goalkeeper plays as a center back. And once the goalkeeper plays as a center back, Badiashile is actually going to let's do the other way around. So Tosin is actually going to spread out wide. Jorgensen is actually going to play. We are moving relative to the position of the fullback who's going to invert. Now Jorgensen is going to start into this right-sided center-back position, while Beno is going to move towards this left-sided center-back position. Now, when you move like this, what you've actually created is that you've actually created a pseudo back four. This is the back four that you've created. Now, this is the pseudo back four that you've actually created. Let me show you using the arrows. So this is the back four that you've created here. Sorry. This is the back four that you've created here. And because you've created this back four, these three players who are pressing are not able to engage in that intense press, because now they are actually outnumbered using your build-up structure. And because you have outnumbered them, what you notice is that Gusto, who's playing as the fullback and has actually played well as an inverted fullback will actually move into this position in midfield. So you'll find Lavia pushing here and Gusto moving here in this position in midfield. Now, what you'll notice is that Chelsea already have 6 players. So the goalkeeper has numerous passing options. He has this passing option here. He has this passing option here towards this center back, and he has this passing option towards this other center back. That is where you want Chelsea to find themselves at. You actually want the goalkeeper to find himself in this kind of position. That's why you will notice one thing in the Chelsea games that you've seen in preseason. Sanchez is actually stepping out sometimes and playing as a center back because Chelsea wants to create that pseudo back four. And once you are able to create that pseudo back four system, what you're going to realize is that when you're using your goalkeeper as an outfielder, is that Chelsea are able now to create that box-shaped midfield. Because now, if the winger doesn't know whether to come out and press Nkunku, or if the winger should actually move forward and look to press Tosin. And automatically, if he decides to move forward and press Gusto, then what you'll realize is that Chelsea will already have this numerical advantage in midfield, in that the number 6 in this position will be outnumbered. That is how you're actually able to create those overloads. And that's why I prefer Jorgensen to start. I've picked a back 3 of Tosin, Badiashile, and Colwill. Let's look at a much more progressive phases of play because we already looked at the goalkeeper. Another thing that I wanted to talk about with Tosin is that even if the opposition decided to commit a defender to try and cover, mitigate the overload in midfield, like what Manchester City and Liverpool do, so that they decide to go man-to-man in the back line, when they decide to go now man-to-man in the back line. Now, what you're going to realize is that Jorgensen is very good at playing these balls here. So you remember there is this space here. There is this space here between the goalkeeper and the center back that has been left. But now Jorgensen's role is actually to play these balls here. His main role is actually to play these balls here. That's why you need a goalkeeper who's very good at playing the ball from the back. Because now, when you have Jorgensen here, he can play this ball here. And here is where you rely upon your 1v1 ability of your front 3. Now, when you have Sterling here, and when you have Noni Madueke here, you have players who are very good at dribbling and are actually fast. So first of all, here you need to understand that here you have players who are good dribblers and they are very fast. So you have Sterling playing at that position and you have Noni Madueke playing at that position. And you can actually fancy them to actually beat their fullback in a foot race and actually position themselves in areas whereby they're able to receive the ball in these kinds of spaces and actually look to progress with the ball forward and try to at least have a shot on goal or score a goal. That is one thing that you are more likely to try and create by having 2 of them in that kind of position. And that is why the goalkeeper is very, very important. And because teams will notice that Jorgensen can play that pass, what you'll realize is that they will not like to have that 1v1 situation at the back. Remember, Manchester City likes to create these 1v1 situations at the back because they know very well that Erling Haaland, this is food and drink to Erling Haaland. When you have Haaland, you have Jeremy Doku, and you have another pacey winger down the right, you are able to exploit these spaces. And that is why if you create this kind of situation, you're going to realize that they will have now no other option but to have their center back drop deep. And once they have their center back drop deep in that kind of instance, they are going to have their midfield open. And therefore, you are going to also have the ability or the chance to play these penetrative passes in between the lines. Passes that I have seen Sanchez and also Jorgensen looking to make. You'll always have a passing range. And once you're able to play these passes to players such as Nkunku or Cole Palmer or Dewsbury Hall in this midfield position, then you put yourself in situations whereby you are able to get that advantage. And this starts with having a goalkeeper who's good on the ball. And because opponents might see that there's no point in allowing Chelsea to have this, they may decide to even drop another midfielder to cover these 2 players. And because they drop another midfielder in this position, they might decide, rather than having their number 10 in that position, to just have their 2 players looking to sit deep. And once they choose to sit deep like this, then Chelsea can easily have an opportunity to play the ball from the goalkeeper onto one center back and actually progress higher up the pitch. So the opposition is more likely to drop deeper. And this is where now we go to find another system where Maresca usually likes to play. So the opposition have actually dropped deeper to give Chelsea that time and space. So this is the work of the opposition. So the opposition are dropping deeper. And once the opposition drops deeper, remember one thing about positional play is that Maresca wants the opposition to be organized. The reason why Maresca wants his opposition to be organized is because he's able now to control the game. The main aim of positional play is able to control the game in possession and controlling the game out of possession. So when you already know how the opponent is going to set themselves up, you can actually coach patterns in which whether the fullback is going to overlap, the players in the half space are going to make underlapping runs. You're able to coach that scenario. But when you're not able to coach that scenario, then it becomes problematic to understand how you're actually going to play. And in that instance, when you already know that, now you already understand why. Gusto will be the one who will be inverting, and then we'll have Benoit Badiashile playing as the middle center-back, Tosin playing out wide, and Colwill playing out wide. And this is more likely to be a very strong structure that Chelsea can use going forward. And even if Manchester City decide to have 3 center-backs going 1v1, you'll also notice something about Maresca is that he's not afraid to have his goalkeeper to actually step forward into that position to actually give the team numerical advantages when they are trying to build up. Gusto will most likely look to be inverting in midfield. Raheem Sterling will be holding the width, Dewsbury Hall, Nkunku, or moving to occupy the half spaces, and Noni Madueke and Sterling giving the general width and strength in the wide areas. Now, this is why I understand that Chelsea are actually going to edge Manchester City in this game. Overall, they have a better squad compared to what Manchester City have at the moment. But if Manchester City had at least half of their starting lineup, then you would tip them to be favorites. But Chelsea needs to win this game for the psychological part so that when they actually face Manchester City in the Premier League, they'll be in much better form and much better position to actually look to create something that may actually threaten Manchester City's dominance in the league next season. Now, I'm giving around 5 minutes so that people can ask me questions. I will give you 5 minutes to ask me questions in the comment section area below. Any question that you have regarding to whatever we are discussing, any question with regards to the preseason tour, any question regarding to the tactics, any question regarding to the lineup, I'm opening the comment section for any questions. So I'm giving you like around 2 minutes so you can prepare your questions. I'm waiting. So any questions? Any questions? I'm waiting for any questions regarding this lineup or any comments. You can have any questions or any comments. You can also give your feedback on the live stream, whether we're supposed to do more. So how will City attack us? Okay, let's talk about Manchester City. So Manchester City is very simple. Now, when Chelsea will be in much more defensive situations, that is, Chelsea will be looking to defend with a back four. One thing that we need to be very extra cautious for in this game is that this is Chelsea. Let me just draw something that Chelsea are looking to defend now. Now, there's a problem that I see in Chelsea defending. I want to explain to you now. Now, one thing that we need to understand is that when Manchester City are building up, remember Ederson is there. So Ederson is a good goalkeeper on the ball. We all know that. So when Manchester City will be looking to build up from the back, I think Rico Lewis is more likely to start so that he can invert in midfield. So when Manchester City will be looking to build up from the back, what you'll notice is that when Chelsea engage in the press, when Chelsea are looking to press high, I've noticed one thing. Nkunku does not put a lot of pressure on the ball. That is something that I've noticed. Nkunku does not press aggressively high. His main aim is usually to try and cut passing lanes. But he's not an intense presser. He's not somebody like Conor Gallagher. I think even Palmer presses better than him. You can see him even sometimes just walking all over the pitch. So you might realize that Chelsea, can you do a watch along today on the live stream for us to hear your thoughts on the game every second, please? I don't think I can be able to do the watch along today. This is my first live stream, so I want to take things step at a time. So probably I will begin. Probably I'll take a game where I'll do a watch along, but I don't want to do everything just at a go. I want to take things slowly, so that I can actually even get feedback from other people who are viewing the channel. So we'll start first of all with the live stream. So when Chelsea will be pressing Manchester City, remember what I told you in that analysis where I told you Chelsea have a problem. If Chelsea will not be putting this aggressive high pressure, if Chelsea will allow Manchester City will try to play with a high line, maybe Chelsea tries to play with this aggressive high line that I showed you that they played with against Celtic. So if they try to play with this aggressive high line, and when they play with this aggressive high line, they don't put pressure on players such as Ederson or a centre back who's very good on the ball. Then what you're going to get is that Ederson is actually going to just step out with the ball from this position. He's going to see his wingers. And what he's going to do is that he's going to play this ball here. Ederson is most likely going to play this ball here. And then you'll find Chelsea in the situation they were in against Celtic. That is, their defense being opened up with balls over the top. So even if the defense decides to play quite narrow, what you'll realize is that Chelsea's defense will be opened through the channels. That is something that we saw with Celtic. So the wide areas will be very well exposed. But I saw a change during the game against Club America, where I saw when Chelsea's defense will compress into this narrow structure, what we will see is that we started to see wingers looking to try to drop deep to try and cover the opposition wingers. That is one way. That is one good way. Also, another thing that when Chelsea are defending in this manner, you have wingers should actually be dropping to try and help their fullbacks. And if they don't help their fullbacks, then what you're going to realize is that when the fullback will be drawn to try and cover, Manchester City will be having players making these runs. You know what those runs are? Those are the half-space runs. And this is something that Manchester City are the best in playing this game. So they will play that run, and then this pass is going to be played here, and then the ball will be played here, and then you'll have a player making these crosses or attempting shots on goal from these corridors, and where you have your number 9s and your number 11s looking to try and make crosses there. Now, the main problems defensively for Chelsea are not pressing aggressively high. If you think you're going to press aggressively high, push the high line, the front players should also engage in putting pressure into Manchester City. That's where players such as Jackson are really famous, because Jackson is really good at putting that pressure. And then number 2, because the front line should be very aggressive in putting pressure, the midfield should also complement that. And once the midfield also look to complement that, when the midfield also look into complementing that aspect of putting pressure onto Manchester City, the backline can also now push forward, because now when you're putting a lot of pressure there, you're actually making Manchester City to not have time and space on the ball to actually play those passes. So the backline should also push aggressively high, while the other midfielders also push aggressively high, so that Manchester City will have no option but actually go long and you can win the ball. But otherwise, if you make half-hearted presses high up the pitch, then expect Manchester City to actually destroy you very well. Let me answer other questions. Will Enzo Fernandez sit deep, or will Moises Caicedo or Lavia? At the moment, the starting number 6 is Romeo Lavia. I've been impressed with Lavia during this preseason tour. He's really good by the way. His passing is good. His reading of the game is good. His movement in the game is also really good. So I believe Lavia is more likely to start. Caicedo, I don't think Caicedo will start. He's just arrived. Enzo Fernandez, he can actually play in that number 8 position. So maybe he can play together with Dewsbury Hall, and maybe Enzo Maresca might decide to start Christopher Nkunku as the left winger, or actually start Nkunku as the number 9. He can play Nkunku as a number 9, standing down the left. Let me just do it. I have the tactical board. So Gohi might not start, and you might have Nkunku playing as the number 9 in that kind of position, that 4-3-3, standing down the left. And what you can get is that now Enzo Fernandez can actually come in and play as a number 8. So you can have Enzo Fernandez coming into play as a number 8. So here is Enzo. Let me show you. So you can have Enzo Fernandez playing as a number 8. And when Chelsea have possession, and Manchester City are actually looking to try and defend. I'm doing this looking at Enzo Fernandez. So this is when Enzo Fernandez is actually playing. So if Enzo Fernandez is playing in this kind of format, what you're going to see is that Enzo Fernandez will now play the role that Nkunku was playing. So Enzo Fernandez will push into the right half space, Dewsbury Hall in the left half space, Sterling and Madueke will start out wide in that kind of fashion, and then Tosin will play as a right-sided centre-back, Benoit playing as a central centre-back, Colwill as a left-sided centre-back, and Gusto moving in midfield to play alongside Lavia. So you might have this kind of structure when Enzo Fernandez is playing. That is the structure you're most likely going to get when Enzo Fernandez is looking to play in this game. So Enzo Fernandez will be looking to operate from this position here. And his main aim is because he's a right-footed player. He's a right-footed player, and Maresca wants these players in this position to be right-footed, is that when Noni Madueke has the ball here, draws a fullback out of position, Enzo Fernandez is able to make this half-space run, receive the ball from Noni Madueke, and actually look to have players who are making runs where he can actually look to cross the ball. That will be the main aim or the main gameplay of Enzo Fernandez in that setup. Let me answer the questions. He should also try to feature Keenan Dewsbury Hall with the squad today. He will play. He will play this game. He actually made his debut last game, and I think he impressed. So he will play this game. I'm going through all comments. So just let your comments be aired so that I can answer your questions. Another question here is the guy is a fantastic player. He is a fantastic player. He's actually one of the players who understands the Maresca system, so he's more likely to play that game. Let's move on to this comment here again. He should allow Enzo to come from the bench. There's something about club politics that I have to explain to you. Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo will most likely be put into that squad. Why? Because the club paid a lot of money. So when you put Enzo at the bench, you're actually making his value to depreciate. And when you make his value to depreciate, it's actually giving Chelsea losses in their financial statements. That's why Enzo Fernandez needs to play. Enzo Fernandez needs to improve. Enzo Fernandez needs to play very well so that he can maintain his value or his value increases. Otherwise, if Enzo Fernandez stays at the bench, his market value reduces. When his market value reduces, Chelsea are unable to balance the books. So that's why it is political. It is the club structure so that Fernandez and Caicedo plays because they are the most paid players. If it reaches a point whereby Maresca has to choose between Dewsbury Hall and Enzo Fernandez, he has to pick Enzo Fernandez. Why? Because the club paid a lot of money for him. Or else, if he chooses to play Dewsbury Hall over Enzo Fernandez, then he needs to be leading the league. He should be, maybe he's first in the league or he's second in the league, and the overall points are very good. The overall performance in cup games such as the FA and the Carabao Cup is good, meaning that the coach is really winning. So when the coach is winning, the fans are more elated. Fans are coming to the ground. The club is making more money. Fans are buying merchandise. The fan base is growing. He's getting a lot of sponsorship. And he's also more likely to get Champions League football, because when you give Champions League football and maybe you win the league or you win the FA Cup, then you earn revenue for the club. So they're able to mitigate the loss that comes with Enzo Fernandez's value in the books dropping. But because that is not yet confirmed, Enzo Fernandez, the club will know how they're going to fit him into this team. Now, please don't forget to hit, do not forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button. Please, we need to get to 10,000 subscribers before the Premier League starts so that we can do watch-alongs. Do you see Badiashile starting as the central centre-back after the performance of Tosin? He can start because, remember, Rhys James is not going to most likely play because Rhys James is actually supposed to miss. Did he play the last game of the season? He didn't play the last game of the season, so I think he's just left with 2 match bans. So he's not going to play game week 1 and game week 2. So Maresca needs to actually fill in that position. Or if you are actually looking at Tosin, because I also believe Tosin played well as the central centre back compared to Badiashile. So probably I think Fofana can come in and start as a right back and then Gusto to start as a left back. Something like that can actually happen. So that is also another point. Yeah, thank you for that. I will prefer Tosin as the central centre back and Fofana as the right centre back. Badiashile is error prone. Yeah, that is true. That is true. So we can even try to have Colwill out and try to have Fofana. Let's try to have Fofana. I don't know which number he is currently, so let's try to have Fofana. So when you have Fofana there, and let's just give him maybe number 0. I don't know his shirt number. So let's have Fofana there. So Tosin in the middle, Badiashile there. I think this is something that you're talking about. I think this is what you're talking about. So Gusto is actually playing as a left back who's inverting. I think this is much better. So that Tosin can actually play as the central centre back. Yeah, I think Tosin is much more experienced and is much smarter. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for your explanation. Yeah, you're welcome. Tosin is really good at central centre back. I've already explained that. The next comment is, and he should please place Rhys James on his position, not place him in a midfield role, please. Yeah, I think even he noticed that. That's why in the last game, Gusto actually played in the midfield role. I think Rhys James did not play quite well in that inverted fullback role, but he was much more conservative. Rhys James was much more conservative in that position. So I understand that. Rhys James was much more conservative in that position. Let's move on to the next point. To be fair, Chalobah is perfect for right-sided centre-back since James is on suspension. The club is actually looking to sell Chalobah. So most likely he's not going to be featuring in games. That is pure profit. I've told you again, you need to understand the political side of the club. I've explained it with Enzo. I've explained it with Caicedo. I've explained it with Chalobah and Konogaraga. The club needs pure profit. Selling an academy player is pure profit. So if they're able to enter 30 million into their books, 40 million into their books and balance their books, they're going to do it. Homegrown players are deadly. Even Rhys James, if this season it becomes injury prone, don't worry, the club will also sell Rhys James. If Rhys James does not play this season, he will be sold in the summer of next season because he's also pure profit. That's the way the club works. Let's hope you keep it. You keep doing. I'll be doing live streams. Don't worry, I'll be doing live streams, especially for match previews. I'll be doing live streams. Fofana is number 29. Thank you very much. Fofana is number 29. Did he take Kai Havertz's number? Sorry. I think there's a problem here. Are you able to hear me? I want to know if you're able to hear me. Please comment if you're able to hear me. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me? Okay. What do you think the back four will be for tonight? The back four for tonight, I believe it's going to be probably either Fofana or Colwill will come in. I'm still caught. If Colwill starts, you will play as left back, Gusto as right back, Tosin and Badiashile. If Fofana starts, Fofana right back, Tosin right centre back, Badiashile left, then Gusto will play at left back. That is the back line. In the press conference, Maresca said that he will replace Rhys James in the Man City game. So let's see. Yeah, Fofana might come in or Colwill might come in. Yeah, that might happen. And Colwill has been seen training alongside Tosin and Rhys James. And Fofana with Gusto inverting. That is from the latest video. Yeah, I've told you, in the first half, maybe Colwill might start as the left back. In the second half, maybe You can see now Fofana playing as a right back. It's going to change. Gusto can invert from both sides. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. I'm waiting for more questions. I want to wrap up this live stream in the next 5 minutes. So I'm waiting for your questions. Do you have any questions on midfield? Do you have any questions on attack? Where is Nkunku going to play? Yeah. What do I think about Jackson? Is this Enzo formula useful? Yes, Enzo Maresca's system is useful. And I'm going to do an interesting video on positional play and how positional play is actually making Chelsea even more deadly. I'm going to do that video. Madueke and Sterling should stop being this stingy football. It's also affecting the team. I think Sterling, I think he played well. I know a lot of you think that I have a soft spot for Sterling, but Sterling played well. He actually put Dewsbury Hall into occasions where Dewsbury Hall should have actually scored the goal, but he didn't score the goal. So Sterling plays well. Noni Madueke is where I have a problem. He does not know how to pick the players making the runs in the half space, and this might actually cost him his position if Palmer comes in. Though in my opinion, I don't want Palmer to play in that right-wing position. I want Palmer to play in that half-space position. And I've always indicated that. I want Palmer in that box midfield. I don't want Palmer as a winger. I want Palmer in that box midfield. Do you believe in Maresca ball? 100%, 100%. I believe it even more than I believe in Pochettino ball. Pochettino ball was more physical. Maresca ball is more tactical and is more definite. You are able to see what is happening. Who will hold the bench between Kunku, Kian, Dewsbury Hall, Caicedo, and Enzo? You don't know. You know, sometimes in football, things are really funny. You might even realize that Lavia might be the best player. So you find that when Lavia is not playing, the team is not playing well. So you can be lucky to find that Lavia, Dewsbury Hall, and Palmer might be the midfield three. Meaning that when you play them, Chelsea is guaranteed to win. Maybe if you play them 5 games and then you realize in those 5 games, Chelsea have scored 30 goals, Chelsea have conceded 5 goals. You're going to pick the team that is actually going to win. And if that is going to cost Fernandes and Caicedo, then they will play in the Europa League and in the cup games, and even sometimes they might come in for Lavia. So you just don't know. Your perfect midfield trio for next season. My midfield trio for next season, I'm going to go for 2 midfield trios. When you are facing a team that is in the top 6, or teams that are very, very good or difficult away fixtures, like maybe going away to Newcastle or Brighton, teams that know how to, who have stronger midfields, I will go for Lavia, Caicedo, and Palmer. If we are going against teams that the other 14 teams that sit back, that is the rest of the 14 teams, I would go for either Lavia or Caicedo as the holding midfielders. Then I will go for Palmer and Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Is the situation of Victor Osimhen? I'm going to do a video why Chelsea want to sign Victor Osimhen, and do I think he's a perfect fit for Chelsea? That is something that I'm also going to check. I'd probably start Jackson every day because you can see the link-up plays sometimes are missing with Guehi. Yes. Jackson is much better when it comes to link-up play. But Mark Guehi is better in scoring goals than Jackson. But I believe Jackson is going to play because Jackson is much more physical. Jackson is much more fast. You know, Guehi is just playing preseason. He has not played the physicality of the Premier League. He's not met the likes of James Tarkowski and people like Virgil van Dijk. Very strong centre-backs. Konate, Ruben Diaz, the butcher from Manchester United, Lisandro Martinez. He's not played against established centre-backs. So more likely I'm going to lean towards Jackson. Jackson is much physically stronger than Mark. I also think that Colwill at left centre-back, Tosin central centre-back, and James as right centre-back. If he's not available, for Fofana as right centre-back, cool, okay, yes. What if Maresca uses Modric to counter press City? Modric is not likely going to play. Sterling is playing better than him. What if Maresca used Modric? I've answered that. What is Disasi? Disasi, I think Disasi, they are saying that he's not much fit. By the way, Disasi can actually play today as a right back. He has played there. Oh, we forgot about Disasi. Yeah, Disasi can actually come in. But I'm going to confirm if he's fit enough to start. Let me hear from Ruth. Ruth has actually given us a comment here. Yes, Jackson will benefit in this Maresca system. Good linker play, quality holder play, inside runs. I mean, he can drop inside or play at the shoulder of the last defenders. He only needs to work on his shooting. Yes, he needs to work on his finishing. I pray Chelsea should get Victor Osimhen. For us, it will fit with the system, with the team in any angle. First of all, I'm going to analyze Victor Osimhen, and I'm going to shock you when I tell you that Victor Osimhen does not actually fit Chelsea. Osimhen does not fit Chelsea. I'm going to do a video on that. Osimhen tactically does not fit Enzo Maresca's system. Jackson fits it perfectly, but Osimhen does not. Osimhen is like Haaland in Pep's system. It's just that Pep had to come up with a system to accommodate Haaland. Disasi is back to training. Okay, he can play at right back today. Hope Jackson's finishing improves this season. What I want Jackson's to happen is that Jackson just needs to ensure that Dewsbury Hall, Cole Palmer, Sterling, and Madueke are able to find themselves in goal-scoring positions. If Jackson can get the number of goals he got last season, that are 15 goals, and we get 10 goals from Noni, 10 goals from Sterling, 20 goals from Palmer, and another 15 goals from Dewsbury Hall, Chelsea is set. You don't need Jackson to score the number of goals that Haaland does. He just needs to be the focal point and also be the pressing presence high up the pitch, and Chelsea will be sorted. Yeah, Ruth agrees with me that Osimhen does not fit Chelsea. Yeah, it's true. I'm going to explain to you why. But he played in a possession-based football under Spalletti. There's a difference between how Spalletti plays and how Maresca plays. And Maresca wants his number 9 to have the ability to actually be dropping deep in this position. Osimhen is an off-to-shoulder runs defender. He's good aerially. He's a very good player aerially with the ball, but his link-up play is terrible. It's not the best. His link-up play is not the best. Yeah, and I also doubt his pressing. Pep used Walker as a right back when he faced counter due to his pace. What about us? Rhys James is there. Rhys James is faster. You saw it in the game. Rhys James is faster. If Rhys James is fit enough, he will sort Chelsea out. So I think I've exhausted the comments. I think I've exhausted the questions. And I think, let me answer this final question. Are Arsenal use the same formula like Maresca used? No. Arsenal do not use the same formula. Arsenal's goalkeeper, David Raya, is not good on the ball, so he does not step out during build-up. And when Chelsea play Arsenal, you're going to see how Chelsea is actually going to dominate Arsenal. Maresca's goalkeeper actually steps into the back line to play as an extra centre-back. David Raya is not good with the ball at his feet. I repeat again, David Raya is not good with the ball at his feet. Neither is Ramsdale. So Arsenal do not play like us. Arsenal are much solid defensively, though when they play against teams that sit deep, they're able to impose their structure. But when they're playing against a team maybe like Manchester City, or when they come up against Chelsea, you're going to see it. Chelsea are going to use their goalkeeper to give them numerical advantages, and they're actually going to try and beat Arsenal at their game, though Arsenal will be lethal in the counter. Tosin is also faster. Yes, Tosin is also faster. So I think the hour mark has passed, and I think this is enough for today. So thank you for watching the preview, and also that is good in looking at this analysis. So thanks again, and thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Kapapi. Thank you, Julius. So we'll try to do more live streams in the future. So if you've not watched this video, you can kindly rewatch and understand how we've done tactical analysis on this preview. So see you again and take care. Bye.